This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 3. The Lord hath appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word, and all truth and sincerity. And I want to go into a lesson through the Spirit on the Heavenly Father's affection and love for us as a nation of people. All right. Out of all the nations on the planet, the Lord has chosen one particular nation. All right. And that is the nation of Israel. Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, and our descendants that are scattered amongst all nations that may look like other nations. There's a particular nation on the earth that the Lord has a profound love for. When you look at the scriptures, the Lord has only expressed love for one nation of people. All right. And that nation is the nation of Israel. All right. And what I love about the Heavenly Father's words is that the Lord expresses his love toward us as a nation of people in some of the only ways we can understand it through the human experience. All right. This is why the Lord said this in Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. All right. And when you think about a marriage as a whole, marriages go through ups and downs. You know, the only difference between the marriage in a household with a man and a woman and the Lord's relationship with us as a nation of people is it affects everything. You know, when you look at the world is really centered around the relationship the Lord has with his people. Certain kingdoms would not have even existed if it weren't for the split between us and the Heavenly Father, for our disobedience. And that goes back to the affection and the love the Lord has for us as a nation of people. All right. Matter of fact, this says Jeremiah 6 and 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. All right. And for the brothers, you know, that woman that you find very beautiful, that you're super attracted to, that first love. It's the best way to describe it. That affection that you feel for the first love. You go through certain ups and downs, but that affection is still there. That's the Heavenly Father and us as a nation of people, man. And that separates the nation of Israel from all other nations on the planet. The Lord made them, but there's a preference. All right. And this is what Christianity has tried to remove out of the scriptures. The fact that the Lord has a preference concerning people, concerning nations on the earth. All right. This is 2 Esdras 5 and 27. And among all the multitudes of people, thou hast gotten thee one people, and unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. All throughout the scriptures, you see divine preference. Just like in the human experience, you have personal preferences. Well, the Lord has a divine preference. All right, because when you go into 2 Esdras 5, it's not just talking about the Lord's favorite people. It's also describing the Lord's favorite bird. All right, the Lord's favorite land. And it just so happens that the nation of Israel, according to prophecy and according to the election, the Lord's preference, that the Lord chose a particular nation of people on the earth. And that's why we have to bear the indignation. That's a part of the marriage. Our people are born into this world and they assume that their slate is clean, so to speak. As an Israelite, when you're born into this world, you're born and you're bound to the marriage. Right now, we're bound to the marriage through the curses. 2/3 and the elect. The only difference is that the elect are prophesied to have mercy. It's prophesied that the elect, the Lord would have mercy upon them. But we're still all bound under those curses. But the elect have hope. All right. This is Deuteronomy 10. I'm going to jump down to verse 14. All right. And it reads, Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy power, the earth also with all that therein is. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. And the Heavenly Father never changed his mind. Just like you can't change who your first love was, the Lord never changed his mind concerning the people that he has set his affection upon. Now we have to suffer through the curses. We have to be chastened by the Heavenly Father. But that in itself is proof of the Lord's love. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. This is Hebrews 12:6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. Now, when you deal with the nation of Israel as a whole, we're being chastened under the curses. All right. This cuts Christian doctrine, because if the Christian doctrine were true, everybody would be under the curses. All of those who believe, as they say, they profess with their mouth that they believe in Jesus, they would all have the stigma of being a Negro, Latino, or Native American on the world stage, the reproach that comes with that. But you don't see that. Even 2/3 of our people, even though they reject the mercy that's being offered to them, they're still bound by these curses. They're still under that chastening of the Heavenly Father, because the curses are a form of chastening. Now, within that, you have the elect, and the elect are being chastened in a very particular way in the midst of the curses. You know, the Lord is taking the elect through certain paths and certain situations to build up the faith in the elect. But us as a nation of people, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we're still under that blanket, that national judgment, if you will. And that's why, even though 2/3 of our people have to learn this lesson through death by pain, they are still inheritors of that blessing, because it was given according to promise. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. This is Galatians chapter 3:17. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of Yahweh in Hamashiach, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul, that it should make the promise of none effect. For if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but the Most High gave it to Abraham by promise. And the nation of Israel stand to inherit that based on promise. It's just the process happens where the Lord is only seeking the first fruits on this side. The rest of the nation of Israel are going to die on this side. All right. And they're going to have to come back through the loins of the elect. But they too are going to inherit that blessing, because the blessing didn't come with conditions. The Lord didn't promise Abraham the blessing based on conditions. He gave it as a promise. And this is what Paul is explaining. And this goes back to that mercy and that love and affection the Heavenly Father has toward his people. Favoritism, if you will. All right. And who is man to go against that? Just like your shirts can't speak against you if you have a shirt that you prefer over others. You know, when you zoom out on an unimaginable scale, that's the Heavenly Father and his people. There's an affection the Lord has for his people compared to all the other people that he created. And right now it's seen through the chastening of the Heavenly Father. And that's extremely important right now. That's how you identify who the nation of Israel is. We will not have any might or power in our hand. We will be subject to other nations of people. We will be set as a reproach. And as a nation of people, our reputation is that of shame and mockery. Every nation has a proverb and a byword for Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's no coincidence. And there's nothing a Negro, Latino, and Native American can do to escape that. They can try to trim their ways, but either way, the world views you a certain way according to the reproach. That's a part of the national judgment the Lord has given us as a people. Because the Lord not only judges men individually, but he also judges nations as a whole. We were judged as a whole. All right, this is Job 34:29. When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only, that the hypocrite reign not, lest the people be ensnared. So it shows you that the Lord does judgments on a personal basis, meaning whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap, but also on a national basis. All right. And the first Exodus was a very perfect example of that, because Pharaoh made the decisions, right? But all of the Egyptians, their firstborn, were dead. All right. As a judgment. That was what the Lord did. All right. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and 11. The master and the servant were punished after one manner, and like as the king, so suffered the common person. Now I'm bringing this out to show that the Lord did that to Egypt, but he also does that to us as a nation of people. This is why we went in and out of captivity. Every Israelite that went into captivity, past and present, weren't necessarily wicked, but we're bound to that contract as a family. All right. This is Amos chapter 3. And that's why this is a private meeting in public. This is really a family meeting in public. You know, we have to have it in public because we're scattered amongst all nations of people. But there's a private conversation, truly. All right, this is Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Because nationality really goes back to your family, your national family, not the location you were born in. That's something Esau put out there. That's a new thing Esau put out there to really spread his crimes as a nation of people. Because if you took those French, Russian, Australian, New Zealand, American, British, if you took all of them labels off of them and just called them the so-called white man and put their crimes in one pot, it will be clear who the son of perdition is. And that's why they're going to suffer a national judgment. And that's something that's been removed through the doctrine of Christianity from the minds of most people, that the Lord has judgments that cover nations of people. And right now, the Lord's people, though he loves us, we're covered under a national judgment of curses. All right. Matter of fact, this is Deuteronomy chapter 30:1. And it shall come to pass, when all these are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. All right. If any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And this is directed towards us as a nation of people. You Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. And that's what we're doing. We're calling to mind the curses. That as a nation of people, on average, the curses apply to Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans more than anybody else on the planet, especially those small hats in the state of Israel. The curses don't apply to them at all. They don't fit the description as the Lord's people according to what would happen in prophecy. And I digress back to the subject of the lesson that the Lord loves us as a nation of people, man. You know, you don't punish somebody else's child for something that you told your son to do. This is why we're alone in the curses, man. We don't have anyone to come and give us aid. As a matter of fact, nations profit off of us being in this condition. They come and lick the wounds like the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. They look at us in this downtrodden estate and they look at it as an opportunity for them to come up. And as we're alone in the curses, we will also be alone in the blessing, meaning the blessing does not apply to any other nation outside of the nation of Israel. All right. They haven't had to suffer the reproach and the curses. All right. Christianity is a fable that gives people the impression that they don't have to suffer any of the curses or the reproach that the Lord has given against his people, but they can attain the blessings. All right, let's go here. This is Isaiah chapter 60, and I'm going to jump down to verse 15. And it reads, whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. And right now, amongst the nations, we are forsaken and hated. We have no allies. And that's a part of the chastening of the Lord. And just as we had to suffer the curses alone by ourselves, likewise, the blessing is going to be given to the nation of Israel. All right, alone. All right, beginning with the elect, because the elect are described as what? As the first fruits. Matter of fact, let me see. I want to get this first in 1 Corinthians. So we'll get 1 Corinthians 15 and 22. It says, for as in Adam all die, even so in Hamashiach shall all be made alive. But every man in his own order, Hamashiach, the first fruits, afterward they that are Hamashiachs at his coming. And the reason I'm bringing this out is because the Lord is going to save the first fruits of his people first. And then through those first fruits, the rest of the nation will be brought back through as the children of the elect. All right, now I want to go here, Salakia. This is 1 Corinthians 15. I'm going to jump down because I want to get that word for first fruits in the Greek. All right, now word first fruits in the Greek is a parke. It says to offer firstlings or first fruits. All right, but I want to get number 3 on outline of biblical usage because this is the point. Person superior in excellence to others of the same class. All right, so the first fruits are the ones that the Lord's going to have mercy on among the nation of Israel. And then through the loins of the elect, that first fruits, the rest of the nation is going to be brought back in their right mind. And this is the process of the Lord giving the nation that he loves the blessing that he promised them. All right. Real quick. This is Jeremiah 29 and 11. And it reads, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. All right. Because our end is going to be in peace, beginning with the elect. And as a nation of people, we will never go into captivity again. All right, now end it with this. This is Ezekiel chapter 36. Slakia, Ezekiel 39. I'm going to jump down to verse 26. I'll start at 25. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that they have borne their shame, and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. All right. And nobody else is bearing this. The shame that we have to endure as a nation of people. 2/3 alike. It's just their hope is in Babylon the Great. Their hope is that we'll just get the best of the worst situation. They don't have hope in the deliverance of the Heavenly Father. Verse 27 reads, when I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' land, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. That's clear that there's a separation between the Lord's people and other nations. The Lord said he'll be sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Verse 28, then shall they know that I am the Lord their God, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.